Alright YouTubers, yes, it's time for the one you've all been waiting for. The final game in the Renegade trilogy. Yes, Renegade III, the final chapter. On the Amstrad CPC, of course, Longplay in review. And yes, there's a damn good reason why it's the final chapter. And you'll see why shortly. So anyway, let's get this booted up and see what horrors lurk for us on the loading screen. That's alright. 4-colour loading screen. As you can see there, guys, we've got robots and mummies. What could this possibly mean? Yes, it's time travel time. I'm not content with having it set in urban environments, which worked really well in the previous 2 Renegade games. No, they've gone straight to some time travelling nonsense. Someone's kidnapped your girlfriend, and you've got to travel through prehistoric zones, Egyptian times, into the future. But there's no reason why they've nicked your girlfriend. Why you need to go to 5 different time zones? Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And why they decided to go with a time travel theme, I do not know. But anyway, here's the title screen. Now notice, programmers Andrew Deakin, graphics Ivan Horn, music Jonathan Dunn. 3 brilliant programmers at Ocean Software. They did some fantastic games like Operation Wolf, Rambo 3, and this is what we ended up with. So we're starting the first level here, which is the prehistoric zone, set in the time of dinosaurs and cavemen. Okay, we've got orange babies throwing giant rubbish bags at us. Dinosaurs walking upright. And Captain Caveman rip-off there as well. So yeah, okay, we're just trundling along here, avoiding all the enemies, jumping over some pits here and there. There's absolutely no point in fighting them. Main reason being, yeah, the time limit, which I will come on to shortly. Okay, right, we've reached the a dreaded point of the game, which is the clearing, which happens twice a level, and you get about 12 enemies, 6 at a time to defeat before you can move on. And this is where most people give up on this game, because it's just too damn hard. You'll either run out of all your energy and all your lives, or eventually time will run out if you try and take it carefully. So you've got to be constantly on the attack. And this took me absolutely ages to work out how you actually beat these guys. Because there's always 2 attacking you, left and right, at all times, no matter what you do, where you move. And typically, whilst you're attacking one, the other's attacking you from behind at the same time. And it, for the first, well, initially it just seems absolutely impossible. But I've worked out a system, which is okay. I'll get rid of these 2 first, and then I'll describe in a second. Make a note there. I'm doing lots of jumps. Okay, that's the last one. Right. As soon as they start, move across to at least one of the bad guys and try and get as many hits in as possible. Although I completely fucked it up there. Alright, ignore I said that. I'll be doing that in the later clearing sections. Basically, as soon as they start appearing on the screen, get to one side and just take as much energy off you can off the first enemy as possible. I've only stuck between 2 enemies at all times, which is basically follows this simple routine to try and beat them. Do a punch or a kick, and then jump. Whilst you're jumping, they can't attack you. It also gives you just a little bit of distance from the enemy behind you to get in there and get your attacks in. Okay, well, we've done that clearing, so I'll come on to that again at the next clearing, which won't be far away. You also need to know the route in this game, because you might end up going on the higher section or lower section and reach a dead end, or at least a chasm you can't jump across, and then you'll have to backtrack all the way. By which point you'll have run out of time by the end of it. Literally every second counts in this game, including losing a life. That takes about 2-3 seconds off the time. So really, don't lose any more than 2 lives in a level. Otherwise, you'll definitely won't have any time left by the end of it. Note you can also just jump continuously throughout the level, and they won't be able to hit you. And note as well, we've got literally about 2 minutes left. And it's about a minute per clearing. No, I mean a minute per 6 levels. Sorry, a minute per 6 enemies in a clearing. And of course, you've got 2 waves of them. It'll take about a minute each to get rid of 6 enemies. So if you're down to 2 minutes like me there, you're really pushing it. Right, get close to the edge of the screen there, and get as many hits in as you can against the first enemy. Okay, that's the first one done. Right, back to the old jumping malarkey there. Now, the enemy you're sort of jumping into, if he's right close to you, then just use your normal kick as a shorter length. But if you do your crouching punch move while the enemy's too close, you'll miss him. Yeah, the collision detection is pretty awful in this, so I'm using a kick there. And if you can, get a kick and a low punch in. At the same time, get 2 hits on the enemy. And very quickly jump afterwards, because the guy behind you will be right on top of you. See there? I did a punch as I was jumping. And there you go, got a clubs there. But I was jumping, so it didn't register a hit. Big problem, really, in terms of programming and collision detection. Doesn't make sense at all. So yeah, getting lots of hits in against that first enemy in the next wave. So yeah, as you see there, I tried to do a kick and yeah, I got a kick and a low punch in. That's taken 2 hits off of him. And basically rinse and repeat. And you should be able to do this. Most people by this point, I mean, when I first bought this game, you know, I got to these clearings and I just gave up. I mean, I really didn't have the time or the patience to work out some kind of way of getting rid of these guys. And the game just ended up collecting dust on my shelf, never to be played of again. But I was determined to come back and beat this, because I wanted to see what the later levels were like. And if any other goodies waited for us. But anyway, that's the first level done. And now we're into the obligatory Egyptian zone. Obviously, any game involving time travel has to have an Egyptian area. Okay, well, basically, let's talk a little bit about the game itself, right? And actually, we'll start off with some plus points. The graphics, I think, are marvellous. I really love the big bold colours and chunky graphics. Perhaps a little bit pixelated and stuff, but you know what? I like it. Oh, geez, we're already onto our first clearing here. For graphics, I like them, and the sprites are reasonable. But the animation is. Well, the animation is okay, but compared to the last 2 games, it's not particularly good. Other plus points, music. Music is really, really good in the game, which you would expect from Jonathan Dunn, actually. There's different music per level. You get jingles before a level starts, at the end of the level as well, when you complete it. And title screen music, so well, there's plenty of music in the game, and it's all good. It does suit the mood rather well as well. So yeah, well done, Jonathan Dunn. It's pretty much the only person out of the Imagine an Ocean programming team that comes out unscathed in this version. Okay. There's only a couple of sound effects in the game, but you know, not too bad when you got music. Okay. Controls, stodgy, vaguely unresponsive, and slow. suppose the sprite moves around the screen at an okay rate, but nowhere near as smooth and as fast as the previous two games. Okay, first main big criticism, apart from the stupid enemy AI in fighting, is really the combat and what moves you got available. You've got a kick, I think you've got a standing punch and a ducking punch. You've got a jump kick as well, which is absolutely useless, which you'll see I'll never use. and apart from being able to jump, that's about it. I don't think there's any other moves in the game you can use. Compared to you know, Renegade and Target Renegade, where you could do back kicks, grab the enemy and knee them in the groin and punch them on the floor. Pick up and use weapons as well. Although note the Commodore 64 versions actually feature weapons, but I think there's even worse than the Amstrad Specky versions. But anyway, so there's no range of fighting moves. There's no two-player option, which Target Renegade had. Which for me, you know, basically, obviously, it's, Target Renegade being a sequel of Renegade, there's not much else you can do with the game. It's a scrolling beat 'em up, but the reason why I didn't lose loads of marks is because it had that two-player option. It improved on the original by giving you that, and made a run-of-the-mill game even better. So come the second sequel, this one, they've removed the two-player option. Thus, massive step back, really. But I think the biggest cry in this game is just simply not fun to play. It's frustrating, it's overly difficult, the combat is boring. There's quite a few bugs in the game as well, mostly coming from sort of bad collision detection. If you on these clearing sections, if you go too far to the left of the screen, you seem to get temporarily stuck as well, which is really strange. Oh yes, and of course jumping over chasms and stuff like that, you have to be almost pixel perfect for your starting jump position to manage to actually jump the gap. So more often than not, you end up dying in chasms and losing loads of lives from that, stupidly. I will say that when you do complete a level, you do get all your lives back. You do get your free lives, which is thankful. But there's no continue option, so if you lose the game, it's rewind the cassette to the beginning and start all over again. Worst of all is that bloody time limit. The one thing that basically screwed me over too many times was time running out. And if time runs out, you don't just like lose a life or just have to start the level again. It's game over instantly. Game over. Rewind the cassette to start side B. Start all over again. As you can tell, guys, especially regular viewers to my channel, I'm not in a good mood reviewing this game. I don't like it. Yes, I absolutely detest the game, as do I'm sure pretty much all of you. Now, I thought I reached the end of the level there. I'm wondering what was going on. Now we got one more bad guy just randomly to defeat, and with 2 seconds to spare, complete the level. It's just confusing. Could we not have an end of level boss like the last two games featured? Obviously not. And okay, well, we've now gone to a generic medieval level with awful pixelated knights. Although music's decent again. God knows what those big things are supposed to be. Okay, here comes the clearing, and there goes the game slowing down from too many sprites on the screen. If I remember correctly, both Renegade and Target Renegade had absolutely no slowdown, and Renegade had more sprites on the screen as well. and that was programmed in 1986. And guys, this is a big, you know, budget release from Ocean in 1989. I mean, geez, we'd had RoboCop and Batman the movie by then from Ocean Software, and they allowed this to go out. Talking about how annoyed I am with this game, just remember it's well worth watching another video of this on YouTube from Ashen, Dr. Ashen's channel. If you just type in Renegade 3 in YouTube, it should be the top result. That goes into far more detail and about the problems of this game, and also some really dodgy stuff surrounding it in terms of the magazines. It's a really, really funny video to watch as well, to boot. So go and watch that on YouTube. I'll try and do a video response to it or something. So that talks about the other versions, but also about the magazine review scores at the time. Now, the Amstrad and Spectrum versions are pretty much identical, apart from the Amstrad version's got more colours, and that's it. And bizarrely at the time, all the Spectrum mags, they all gave this game really, really high scores. I think Crash gave it 91%, a couple others gave it at least over the 70% mark. What did Amstrad Action give this game? Oh, they gave it 73%, and then later on 75% on the budget re-release. And the original review, I actually read it last night. The review actually really praised the game. Despite it getting sort of an average review score, there's very little mentioned about the difficulty and all the other problems I've mentioned about the game so far. Which is really highly suspicious, because Ashen's in his video, he's found that like, a lot of the Spectrum magazines reviewing the game that gave it high scores seem to be using the same screenshots, or at least screenshots from like a pre-release version, which looks slightly different, which led me, I think, well, many people to believe that basically the magazines at the time hadn't really properly played the game. Probably just had either looked at a preview version or just went off on the screenshots, thinking it can't be. It's got to be as good, at least halfway decent as the first two games, so it's going to be all right. Or maybe they were in the pocket of Ocean and Imagine Software, i.e., don't give this game a bad score and we'll take away your advertising. Who knows? Who knows? But there's no way this game deserves a 90% or even a 70%. I mean, it gets good marks for basically the graphics and the music and presentation. Don't get me wrong. I mean that at least gives the game probably like a 4 out of 10. But I'm not going to give it any other marks. I think that. In summary, I think for my review score, like I always give these games, well, it is a review. Yeah, I think I'll give this a 4 out of 10. I think there may be some absolutely mad bastards out there who actually like this. I'm not going to apologise. This is a truly dreadful game for, you know, paying 10 or 15 quid. 15 quid on disc. Back then, that's a fair amount of money. But you know what, I suppose there are worse beat-em-ups out there. But what a horrid way to end the Renegade series. I mean, the first two games, they were classics of the 8-bit beat-em-up genre. Probably the best beat-em-up games on the home 8-bit computer systems, at least on the Amstrad and Spectrum, I'd say. Because the Commodore 64 version wasn't very good either. But really, I'm kind of running out of things to mention about this game. Running out of time here rapidly. But I think we've got through the first two clearings already, so it's just basically a race to the end of the level. But yeah, you need to know the level layout to know whether you should be going higher or lower. and what you should be jumping and what you can't jump. Otherwise, there's no way you're going to reach it. I mean, look at this. I've got 10 seconds to go here. I want to make a point as well. The clock still ticks down. Even when there's too many bad guys on the screen and the whole sort of game slows down itself, the clock itself does not slow down. So that's really frustrating and annoying. Right, okay. This is the final level, guys. The future zone. Sorry, it's 4 levels. Should remember. I recorded this a few days ago, and then I went back and did my Renegade and Target Renegade videos. Thought I'd review this again with a fresh pair of eyes. And the graphics here have turned into a bit of a mess. It's like they just basically gave up and couldn't be asked. I'm not sure what the hell is happening there when you smack those smack those guys. Looks like the sprite's distorting. I mean, they've basically only got sort of 3, maybe 4 frames of animation tops. The game is horrendously slowing down. But as I said, look at the clock there. That's still ticking down as normal. It's just completely dull and repetitive. Those guys like firing orange blobs at you. Now, from initially not being able to get off the halfway point of the first level forever, now I've worked out this kind of system of defeating them. I can pretty much do this game. I've done this game in all one go and got through to the end. But there's certainly no replay value to come back and do it all again. So if you did manage to finish this, you'd never want to play it again anyway. God, this is dreadful. Yeah, I'm running out of things to say now, really. This didn't get released on the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, like the last 2 games. No, this was just Spectrum, Commodore, Amstrad and MSX. Never seen the MSX version. But yeah, the Commodore 64 version is equally as dreadful. It's got a slightly different look to it. And I think there are weapons you can pick up and use in that game. Oh look, I've just died on a mine there. Or some kind of laser trap, which is sort of pixelated into the background there. I didn't see. Anyway, yeah, the Spectrum version is pretty much identical to the Amstrad, just with basically 2-colour graphics. And that's it. No release on the Atari ST or Amiga, thank God. And that's it, really. I mean, what a terrible way to end the series, really. No wonder this was called the final chapter. I think they must have known that there's no way they're going to do any more Renegade games after this load of trash. For some reason, I find this level just slightly easier than the other 2. I don't know, maybe because I'm getting in the swing of things. But to be honest with you guys, the levels, I'm pretty sure the levels don't get any harder. It's basically same kind of level, slightly different layout, just with reskinned graphics and sprites. They both have the same moves. It basically, you fight a large monster and a small monster, and that's about it, really. So the levels don't actually get harder or improve in difficulty. It's the same time limit. basically the same enemies doing the same moves. They've just got different sprites and different graphics. Which I forgot to mention that really earlier. I mean, it just makes the game even more worse. I think this level's slightly easier because the sprites are just slightly bigger, which makes the game slow down just that little bit more. There's things that fly across at the top of the level there and chuck stuff, but it never lands on you. Oh yeah, you tend to get a little bit stuck on those lifts sometimes as well. So yeah, we've got to get bugs in the game as well. I mentioned already a few already. And I think this is it. That's it. That's it. That's the game completed. Congratulations, you have saved your girl, but your time capsule is broken and you are both trapped in the future, never to be heard of again. Boy, were they right. Bye bye, Renegades. What a sad way to end. And no real ending there. God, we just got a load of text after all that pain and suffering and hurt. And I don't mean Renegade himself, I mean me or anyone else who's played this game. And that's all you get for your troubles. Nice high score music. So that's it. So you just get a message saying you rescued your girl. Who captured her? Why we went through 4 different periods in time. It's not explained. Did Bill and Ted arrive in their little phone box thing, or Doctor Who whisk me around? Who knows? Who cares? Just confine this game to your shelf and allow it to collect dust just like I did, or even better, chuck it in the bin. But yeah, 4 out of 10 from me. Thanks for watching. I'm going to let the title music just sort of play out for a bit, and I'll see you on the next set of videos. Alright guys, cheers, bye.